You may have seen a review of the new Porsche GT3 before, but this one is special. Why? Because this GT3 has a feature that none of the other ones did. Namely, it has an engine that won't catch fire. But I'd be a pretty shoddy journalist if I didn't at least try. If you didn't catch that earlier reference, it was an allusion to the fact that Porsche recently recalled every single new GT3 because a few of the engines in the cars actually caught fire. So yeah, that was a bit of a cheap shot, but it was also the elephant in the room. So with the recall issue dealt with, let's hit the road. Yes, I said road and not track, and that's particularly disappointing that Porsche doesn't want us testing their street legal race car on a track, because we've got a really good feeling that it could probably top the Audi R8 V10 Plus and claim the fastest lap time at the AutoGuide test track. That does, however, force me to examine an aspect of the car I might not otherwise have looked at, namely, what's it really like to use as a daily driver? After all, it's supposed to be a machine you can lap all day long and then drive home. If you've heard, read, or watched anything about the GT3, then it's probably all been about the track aspect. So what's the commute home like? I can tell you the single biggest feature that makes this car so daily drivable is the one thing everyone complained about when it first came out, and that's the 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission. But you know what? It's great. And for driving around town, there's no more fiddling with a clutch pedal or rowing your own gears like some sort of 20th century Neanderthal. Well, for a purpose-built race car, it's actually really nice to drive. There aren't many frills in here, and I've never seen a Porsche cabin with so few buttons, but it's got everything you need, from Bluetooth to navigation. The seats are actually comfortable, and you sit upright and you have a great view of the road, unlike a lot of exotic cars. And the suspension itself, even in the firm setting, is pretty livable. I mean, compared to a Nissan GT-R, this feels like you're riding along in an S-Class. And if you are driving it more regularly, then fuel economy is of some concern. It's actually something like 25% more fuel efficient than the last GT3. That was boring. Okay, so yes, you can in fact drive your GT3 to the local big box, but that's kind of like taking a stripper out on a date and going antiquing. I have a much better idea. The GT3 is a car that needs to have its legs stretched, and when you do, it's absolutely fantastic. It sounds glorious and it feels even better. And when you push it above 6,000 RPM, wow, it's just incredible. For a car of this performance level, the engine is small, but it makes up for it with amazing engineering that allows an incredible 9,000 RPM redline and 125 horsepower per liter. It'll hit 60 miles an hour in just 3.3 seconds, which is amazing for a car that's not all-wheel drive. And those gear changes are almost unbelievably quick. Of course, the entire rest of the car is completely dialed in, from the communicative steering to the super tight chassis to the just unbelievable braking performance. But over and above all that, this car's engine really is its best feature. It seems like pretty soon every car will use turbochargers as a quick fix to create power while hitting fuel economy targets. And the intoxicating feeling of this naturally aspirated engine makes me want to steal this car right now and never give it back. I could literally geek out for a solid hour-long monologue over the technical features of the GT3, from the electronic rear differential to the active dynamic engine mounts. But I will spare you that. There are, however, two features I have to mention, and the first one is the active rear steering. Below 31 miles per hour, the rear wheels turn in the opposite direction of the front ones, making the car rotate more quickly. So it's more nimble and even has a great turning radius. Pick up the speed over 51 miles per hour and the rear wheels turn with the front ones to deliver better stability. Back when we tested the 911 Turbo, it was that car's rear axle steering that made it so grippy on the track. Applied to this rear-wheel drive package, and the GT3 is no longer the tail-happy machine it once was and delivers tons of driver confidence. The second feature is this new dual-clutch gearbox. Remember all that tire smoke at the beginning of the video? Well, that wasn't just so I could be a douchebag and destroy some expensive French tires. No, you are watching Porsche's new dual-clutch in action. You see, the new PDK gearbox, unlike past versions, can be put into neutral by simply grabbing both paddles. This serves numerous functions for those who can really drive. First up, it can steady a car that's understeering in a corner, as opposed to adding brake and making the situation worse. But it also allows you to induce oversteer by engaging the drive wheel suddenly, like this. It's not really as daily drivable as, say, a 911 Turbo, but you already knew that. It's its rawness that makes the GT3 so special. And yes, even with an automatic transmission, it is still a machine for purists. Better yet, it costs $50,000 less than a 911 Turbo S, and it's got way more cachet than that car. And when you hear, and yes, feel the sound of that Boxer engine revving to redline, you know that this isn't just a Porsche, but the Porsche.